if I may ask, and again, let me know if it's too much detail or not, but when you say you've got trauma, what is your experience that you're able to draw from to help others?
That's some what I call social trauma. So I have plenty of that I mean, I've always Satanism is the religion of the outsider, the misfit, so the outcast, the scapegoat. I've always been that. So that's social trauma, and it's definitely influenced my development. But in 2007, I watched my fiance, my partner, die in the ICU in front of my eyes. We were together for about 8 years. This was in Las Vegas, and it absolutely shattered me. Like I've never been the same since. Like that kind of trauma, it's almost a form of brain damage. And I honestly don't know how I got through it. Something just got me through. I wasn't even in reality for weeks, and eventually I started to come out of it. And a friend of mine talked me into moving back to New Orleans and like rejoining civilization and getting a job. And
Community.
that's when I got the job in the psych ward. And eventually, somehow, at post-traumatic growth, I managed to put a life together back for myself. Then a couple of years later, I met a guy in Seattle who was also gifted, autistic, on the spectrum. Like we very much were similar neurotypes. And he talked me into making a move up here. So I kind of just took a leap of faith and gave everything up that I had built and came to Seattle with nothing. Complete psychopath. I lived with him in his home for about 2 months. It was abusive, intense, traumatic.
Wow.
And I thought it was just him. Like he's just a really disturbed, messed up person. But then when I left him and started making my way in Seattle, half the population is is like that. Like they have similar feature. He was very woke, um, very authoritarian, social. It's kind of a social bullying and intimidation, like you see with the tactics they use. Very
Mm.
anti-male. Um, uh, I don't know. The culture here is so bizarre. And coming from the South,
Mm.
the two things they hate are men and Southerners, and I was both. So I had this stigma hanging over my head, similar to what I had growing up, for different
Right,
characteristics.
right.
And
I
it
was just
was
gonna say.
much, much worse as an adult being
Wow.
male in the Pacific Northwest than it was being gay in Trump country in Southern Louisiana. Like hands down, not
Yep.
even a contest.
Wow.
And from my own team, like these were liberals, Democrats. Like this was the team that historically would support me against
Right.
the. And so it was coming from like inside the house. And that's what really threw me.
Wow.
Like I became demonized. I became the scapegoat, the satanic figure all over again. And Satan is kind of the adversary against the church or the religion. So when I converted, I thought, because that's what most of the Satanists do, that I'd be anti-Christian, and finally this is a chance to stick it to the Christians. And I found the complete opposite. I found myself being more empathetic toward Christians because they had a religion and I understood it now. A lot of Christians and I started talking and becoming allies. I started finding a lot of, because I have a Catholic background, Catholics. I was getting in touch with more Catholics, and mo a large portion of my allies and friends right now are Christians. And we get along much better than I even do atheists. So what I realized was, I think it's John McWhorter that sees woke as a
Mm-hmm.
form of Puritanism or
Yeah.
like that's
It's
the
a religion.
religion that I'm a Satan again. I'm a Satan for the woke religion, not for the Christian religion like I thought it would be.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so I'm in opposition to everything that the woke stand for, and I don't care if I offend them. They're welcome to scapegoat me, bring it on. I'm a lightning rod for all of that. So I'm never going to be accepted in their circles or in their church, and I let them know from the beginning. Like I want them to see the horns and the tail right
Right.
away.
Wow. Well, amen. No pun intended to that. But man, that's interesting.